It was 3 a.m. The house was silent. Everyone was fast asleep. Not a single sound, just the soft ticking of a wall clock and the gentle hum of a baby monitor. But then, something strange happened. The family's German shepherd, Max, suddenly stood up. His ears perked. His eyes alert. Without barking, without pacing, he walked straight to the baby's room. And what he did next left the parents frozen in shock. Max grabbed their sleeping baby and dragged her out of the house. The Johnson family lived in a quiet neighborhood, tucked away in a small town where life moved slowly and peacefully. Just an ordinary family: Mark, a high school teacher; Emily, a stay-at-home mom; and their 8-month-old baby girl, Lily, the light of their lives. And then there was Max. Max wasn't just their pet. He was family. A large, loyal German shepherd with a calm soul and watchful eyes. Ever since Lily came home from the hospital, Max had been by her side. Wherever the baby was, Max wasn't far behind. He'd sit under her crib while she napped. He'd sniff her gently when she cried. And every night, once the house went dark, Max would do one final round of the house, before curling up just outside Lily's room. To the Johnsons, it was sweet. Heartwarming, even. But no one knew that one day, that bond would turn into something far greater. Something life-saving. It was a cool summer night. The windows were cracked open just enough to let in a soft breeze. Inside, everything was still. Mark and Emily were fast asleep in their bedroom. The baby monitor buzzed quietly in the background, showing Lily sleeping peacefully in her crib. Max, as usual, lay curled near the nursery door. His eyes were closed, but his ears, always listening. And then, something changed. In the dead of night, Max's head suddenly lifted. He sniffed the air. Tilted his head. His body stiffened. Something was wrong. There was no sound. No flashing lights. No loud alarms. But Max felt it. A strange tension in the air. Something he couldn't see, but could sense. Without making a noise, Max stood up and pushed open the slightly ajar door to Lily's room. He walked in slowly, stepping carefully across the hardwood floor. Lily was still asleep, her little chest rising and falling in rhythm. Then Max did something he had never done before. He gently tugged at the edge of her blanket. Bit down softly. Not enough to hurt her, just enough to lift her little body, wrapped tightly in the fabric. And step by step, he began dragging her toward the hallway. No barking. No howling. Just a silent mission. If someone had seen it without context, it might have looked terrifying. But Max wasn't panicking. He was focused. Determined. As if he knew that time was running out. In their bedroom down the hall, Mark stirred. It wasn't a loud noise that woke him, it was instinct. Something felt off. He blinked in the dark, listening. That's when he heard Max. Not barking. Not growling. Just a single low whine. Followed by the sound of claws scrambling on the wooden floor. He sat up quickly. "Did you hear that?" he whispered to Emily. Emily rubbed her eyes. "What is it?" But before he could answer, Max let out a short bark. That was enough to jolt them both out of bed. Mark rushed out into the hallway, heart pounding. As he turned the corner toward the nursery, his breath caught in his throat. The crib was empty. Panic. Pure, immediate panic. "Lily?" he shouted, his voice cracking. Emily came running, already screaming her daughter's name. Then, just a few steps away, on the front porch, there was Max. Standing completely still, with Lily wrapped in her blanket, gently placed at his feet. Her tiny chest still rising. She was breathing. She was okay. But the scene didn't make sense. Why would Max, sweet, gentle Max, drag their sleeping baby out of the house. Why would he do that? And then Mark froze. He sniffed the air. There it was. A faint, smoky scent, hanging in the breeze. Emily smelled it too. Her eyes widened. She turned around. And that's when they saw it. The smoke. Pouring softly from the hallway, coming from the nursery. Mark didn't hesitate. He ran back into the house, ignoring the thickening smoke curling down the hallway. Emily stayed on the porch, clutching Lily to her chest, tears already falling down her face as she whispered, "You're okay, you're okay." Inside, the smoke was growing heavier by the second. Mark reached the nursery, his heart nearly stopped. One of the outlets near the crib was sparking. A small fire had started, climbing up the curtains and creeping toward the crib that, just minutes earlier, held their sleeping daughter. A faulty wire. The baby monitor's cord had shorted out, overheating in the night without warning. If Max hadn't acted when he did, that room, that crib. Mark grabbed a towel, smothered the flames as best he could, and shouted for Emily to call 911. Within minutes, firefighters arrived and took over. The fire hadn't spread far beyond the nursery, but the smoke damage was real, and the danger had been very, very real. Back outside, Emily sat barefoot on the front steps, Lily still wrapped in the blanket. She rocked her gently, kissing her forehead over and over. And next to her, sat Max. Silent. Calm. His eyes locked on Lily the whole time. He hadn't barked for help. He hadn't run or panicked. He had simply done what his heart told him to do. He had saved her. The fire was out. The danger had passed. But the weight of what could have happened still hung heavy in the air. The firefighters told them it was a good thing they got out when they did. The smoke in the nursery could have overwhelmed the baby in minutes. If Max hadn't acted, they may have never woken up in time. Mark stood in silence, staring at the dark, scorched spot on the nursery wall. Emily sat beside Max, running her fingers through his thick fur, whispering, "Thank you," again and again. Like the words could somehow capture what her heart couldn't say out loud. Lily slept in her arms, unaware that she had just lived through a moment that would shape the rest of their lives. And Max? He just lay there quietly. No pride. No tail wagging. No celebration. Just calm. Peaceful. Like he had done what needed to be done, and that was enough. That night, Mark and Emily didn't sleep. They kept Lily between them, and Max lay on the floor by the bed, his eyes never closing fully. Because that's the kind of love dogs give. No questions. No hesitation. No fear. Just loyalty. Instinct. Protection. Even if it means dragging a baby out of a house in the middle of the night, when no one else even knows there's danger. They say dogs are man's best friend. But sometimes, they're more than that. They're silent protectors. They feel what we don't. They see what we miss. Max didn't have a degree. He didn't read a fire safety manual. But he knew one thing, that the baby he loved was in danger. And he did the only thing his heart told him to do, save her. This wasn't a trained service dog. This wasn't a story about commands or obedience. This was love. Pure, instinctual love. And maybe, that's the part that gets to us the most. Because in a world full of noise and distractions, this dog didn't need words to do something extraordinary. He just listened to the one thing that's never wrong, his heart. And that one decision changed everything. Mark and Emily will never forget that night. Not just because of what almost happened, but because of who was there to stop it. So if you're lucky enough to have a dog, hug them a little tighter tonight. They may never drag you from a burning house, but they'll always be watching. Always protecting. And if this story shows us anything, it's that sometimes, Heroes walk on four legs and never ask for a thing in return. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to share it with someone you care about. Because sometimes, we all need a reminder that love comes in many forms, and heroes don't always wear capes, sometimes, they wear fur. Don't forget to like the video if it moved you. And if you want more real stories that remind us of the goodness still left in this world, hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and give your dog an extra treat today. They deserve it.